we did those episodes while I still had cancer in my body. And that's also something very real, is that like, as you are wrestling with this idea of loving your life, there are real like enemies to that. I mean, just to say this, it's a little bit ironic that I'm talking about loving my life when in recent weeks I've like cried every day. I am really struggling in ways having to do with coming back from being sick, having to navigate work again, struggling to pay our bills, struggling to just kind of feel like I'm above water and not underneath it.
Yeah.
To have cancer, to have surgery, and to be recovering, I was so removed from it, but I wasn't dead. So it's like, thank God I'm alive. To be mostly healthy and then to be back into the throes of like, okay, provide for your 3 kids. Okay, now they're home for the summer and you've got the car stuff you got to figure out. And there's just the real challenges of life. And then to decide I love my life. And it's no longer with this fear of cancer, because thank God I don't have cancer, but it is with a sense of like, okay, how can I learn from that really scary experience that there is an end to this life? There is a boundary there. At some point you go and you're at the end. And the sweetness of that boundary is that it makes us really appreciate where we are. Thanks for wearing pink on your tush. Can they see that?
I don't know.
Okay,
it's
Layne's
a
wearing
question.
Really cute pink pants, and I'm wearing really cute pink shorts, and we didn't coordinate, which means we're in sync, and this is going to be a good season, I think.
It's going to be a really good season.
Welcome to episode 1 of season 6 of the podcast.
Can you believe?
Should I tell them who I am? Like, do we do the real intro? Hi guys, I'm Jessica. My friends call me Jess, and this is...
I'm Layne Dealing-Cherland, and this is Very Good Enough, a podcast from Very Good Mothers Club.
And we're really excited to be here.
Really
excited. We're coordinating.
I know. We just walked in feeling like very matched, very attuned, very ready, very prepared.
And Layne was like, I have good news to tell you, but I'm going to wait to tell you on the podcast. So I'm like, that's how you know it's really good news.
Also, I'm a professional content creator, apparently. You save it for the pod.
You save it. Is it even happening if it's not being announced first on the podcast?
Yeah. So I got a new job.
Yay. The reason why this is relevant to, like, what if someone's new? We got to tell them. Guys, go back and listen to season 5 and you'll hear their journey.
Well, the very first episode of season 5 was me being like, so I've been fired.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really need to believe in myself. So we did a whole episode about how to believe in oneself.
And it's a good episode.
It's a good episode. Yeah. I loved that one. Like 5-ish months ago, it's probably right around when that would make sense. I got laid off from my job just as a matter of like funding in that space, and was like, okay, this is out of my control. But also I did this weird thing where at Christmas I was like, I think I don't want this job anymore. And then like sort of quickly tried to take it back, but not before my dreams and desires had like made their way out into the universe via just my feeling of like, I don't want to be doing this particular job because it's not in my direction. It's like a good job with like a person that I love and it like matters, but it doesn't matter in the way that I want my energy to be flowing. That's like somebody else's dream. Here I am like really contributing to somebody else's dream again, instead of like wrangling all of my energies and my skills and my new talents and the things that I have like built over lots of years, like wrangling that back into my life. And so I was literally like, I want a job in media. I want it to be part-time. I want it to pay me a ton of money. I want to watch someone do the things that like I'm trying to do for us and in other areas of my life. But I need to watch somebody do it at a higher level, because I really, in terms of just like watching YouTube videos to figure out how to do stuff, I feel like I've kind of capped out, and I'm proud of the work that we do. And I feel great about like where I've learned, but I can feel how much further I could go if I could just like sort of see how to do it. Watch someone do that well.
And it's hard when you know other people have the answers that you're looking for, but where do you go to find those answers? So if you could just have someone right there doing it with the answers you need, and you can watch it happen.
So I took a lot of really odd jobs over the last couple of months to pay rent and like figure out how to do life. At the end of piecing all of this together, really hectic, really challenging springtime for me. I did the calculations and was like, oh my God, I made way more money after I got fired. Like a lot more. And that was very exciting because part of my goals in life is to make more money because why not me, you know? We'll return to the thread of like ostensibly bad thing happened and oh my gosh, my life got better. Weird. That's going to link into what we're talking about
the
in
whole
this
theme
episode.
of today.
One of those odd jobs was just helping this couple that I know through my previous boss of her friends. She's got cool friends. I was like, those people are very interesting to me. I helped her with like a little project for them like many years ago, kind of got on their radar, got a peek into their space and was like, ooh, fun, like curious. Wow, what are you guys up to? So they just been on my mind for like a long time. And they moved from LA to somewhere else. And I just did like some like low level, simple assisting for them in their move.
Okay. This was in the springtime.
Yes. This was like one of my little odd jobs this spring.
Yeah.
Got to like be in their home and pack their belongings and chat with them and like do a really good job at a simple task for them. Ever since then, this woman has like sort of stayed in contact with me like every couple of weeks, just like checking in, like, how's your life going? Like, what are you thinking? Tell me about your projects. What's your space like? Like, let's keep in touch about, we have this thing that's formulating. You might need something, you know, so let's just stay in contact here. And then we just sent some emails back and forth yesterday. And I'm going to work for them on a brand new media project with like the exact title that I have searched for in other jobs of being like, I think I'm qualified to do like this thing, to like junior producer or like production assistant for this kind of thing at exactly the number of weeks. In fact, she was like, could it be 25 hours a week? And I was like, could it be 20 though? Yeah. She was like, sure. Should it be 16? And being like, no,
20 is good.
I think 20 is good. Like easy, happy. She's like, I want to support you. I want to support your projects. I want to help you. I want you to learn. I want you to come in. I want you to be in any meetings you want to be in. I want you to look at.
And she works in podcasting world. Is that correct?
The project isn't announced yet, so I can't be like launching details out. But her husband is a figure in media who's kind of a thought leader in like the social justice space, but also tech and government and just like one of those people who's kind of hard to define. Okay. But like impactful. Somebody that I really believe in. Cool. Like really believe in. And she's like running the like, it's time for this person to be
amazing.
Really known and
like
really
the
making
face
impact
of whatever media thing they're doing. Yeah. And she's running the behind the scenes. Yeah. And you're going to get to work with both of them.
One of the pieces is a podcast. Cool. I literally several months ago was like, Connor, I can't imagine someone wanting to pay me X amount of dollars an hour. And he was like, well, first of all, if you can't imagine that someone wants to value your work at that level, we have other things to worry about. Yeah. And then the amount that she told me is a little bit more than that thing I said. I couldn't imagine being paid. Oh my gosh. So...
And wasn't it the part that I did know about this is that she was interested in working with you. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I know that for the month of June, you had already committed to working on a lot of Connor's work, your personal projects, this. And so you were saying, I don't want to work for anyone in June. Yeah. And isn't it right that this person was like, hey, could you work for me? But it would need to start in July.
Yeah. Won't be really ready to think about it until the last week of June. Wouldn't really ramp up till the first week of July. Is that okay with you? So how would you feel about the exact right timing for the amount of hours that you want at a pay rate that I just think that you're valuable? Like a pay rate that communicates your value. Wow. So yes, that is my very exciting news. And it leads us very directly to what we want to talk about today. Yes. Which is basically, we want to do a follow-up on the last episode of last season, which we called I Love My Life. And this is going to be sort of part 2 of that, with its like sub-theme is like things gone good, you know, because things go wrong a lot.
They do. And the really things that go wrong, they like stick. Yeah. Even when you don't want them to stick, they hold inside and they kind of, I don't know, they make it seem like life will be according to that one thing. Yes. Versus all these other things gone good.
Or that your insides are accurately defined by the things that go wrong, the thing that you lost, the thing that like the attack that came at you. Like that's the truth about you. So true. And when things go good, it's like, oh, weird random accident and already it's gone on the conveyor belt of the next thing. Yeah. So we just want to focus in on some stories like this one. Yeah. Because what happened was I got fired and my whole life upgraded in every possible way.
That's so amazing.
And I want to keep that, because why not let that define me? Yeah. Why not let that define my life? Or even better, what if I lived in the neutral space of like, I'm regular and natural and neutral.
Yeah.
And some good things come and some bad things come, and they all can live in the same zone, and none of them becomes the story that defines my life.
Wow. Yeah.
I just continue to focus my energy and my interest more on the things gone good and become less and less interested in the things that go bad.
Yeah.
I can metabolize them. I can live
Accept
through
them.
I can make choices. I can learn a ton. I can let them push me like a little bumper. Oh, my little bowling ball bumped into the bumper and got sent back toward the center, you know?
Yeah.
And then keep focusing my energy and my like life force, my vitality onto, I love my life.
Yeah.
Things go good.
Yeah. Yeah. And letting that be the headline of your life, even in the seasons that feel harder to find the like sparkly stuff where you're like, oh, this went great. This went great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
Will you give us a little recap of I Love My Life for any who missed it and should return?
Sure.
Strong recommend.
I recommend it. And to be honest, I should go listen to it again, because when I first listened to it back, it felt like it was for me, which is so funny when that happens. That happens to me with our podcast a lot.
Me too.
Is I'll listen to it back and be like, whoa, that felt like something big speaking through me and then speaking back to me. And this one was one of those episodes. And the idea was just basically that I was having a moment where I was really spiraling at the end of the day, which is not uncommon for me. I lay in my bed and all of a sudden all these thoughts just come loose of like things going wrong or things that I'm freaking out about or stresses or whatever. And I had a very clear kind of spiritual experience where my thoughts were interrupted. And the way I described it was like you're riding a bike and something gets stuck in the wheel and it like stops you, halts you. And the thought was, I love my life. And the idea there is like, what if I did right now? What if loving my life wasn't connected to an end goal? I will love my life when I mean, we do this with all kinds of things. I will love my life when my pant size is this. I will love my life when I can figure out these eyelids, these forehead lines, you know, that for me, so much of my life, I was very appearance oriented. And it was something I hated. And yet something that I truly struggled with was if my body would look like this, then I would love my life. If my career could get to this point, then I would love my life. I had someone once say to me, well, how could you struggle with all of this? You're married. So that was, I identified for her, when she gets married, she thinks she will love her life. That's very telling. Okay. Yeah. Some of us do that with when I have a child. Some of us do it when we move to this other place or when I own a home or all of these things that are out there. And when we get there, we think we will love our lives. And for me, it was this thing of like, could I love my life right now? And to be honest with you, I've been doing this for so long, this moving the end goal, that I've actually already achieved a lot of the stuff that I thought would make me love my life. Yes. I just sort of didn't even notice it. I did the thing you've done of like the conveyor belt, like all of a sudden the good thing has moved on and my eyes are already on the next thing I need to do. And so for me, it's been this quiet to the point where I didn't tell anyone until I told Layne, which was also telling you, because I didn't want it to get ruined. But this idea of, could I practice loving my life and really letting that be the like bookend of I live between loving my life and loving my life. And every good and bad thing that happens in between exists inside of a truth that I love my life. And it is like, it is not a light and fluffy thing. It's like, no, I will be a person who loves my life. It will almost be a holy act between me and the giver of life that I will love this life in gratitude. And because I like it more than not liking my life until I get to the end goal. And because you see so many examples of people who have everything you, me, Layne, everything we could ever want. And they're struggling. There's even a really cool book in the Bible that I love, Ecclesiastes. You probably appreciate it for the same reason, where it's this guy, Solomon, this king who had everything. And it's like this depressing book of like, nothing matters. everything is meaningless. And I was so encouraged by that, because all the stuff in there that this person acquired in the story is everything I would attach loving my life to.
Right.
So you know that that thing in itself doesn't equate to loving your life, which means loving your life, being grateful for your life, experiencing abundance or richness, or even like a sense of wealth. That is something that happens separate from how much money we have, the income we make. If it's not, basically what will happen is no matter the amount of money we make, we'll immediately catch up to it and decide it's not enough. This job that I have, it's not enough for the lifestyle I want, or compared to that person over there. And I was actually writing about this recently. I have a car that we bought. It was $3,000. It's like a 2001 Corolla. It looks very dingy, but it gets me from one place to another. And we were in a tizzy because I had gotten in a car accident, but I hadn't received the money yet for a new car. And I was driving Eloise to school, and I was comparing myself to the parents in the beautiful cars. And I was writing about it after I got home, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just like the people, what did they think of me? But then I realized upon writing my feelings out, which I recommend writing them out, they slow your thoughts down and you capture more truth. What I realized is I was being really silly, because a lot of parents at that school don't even have cars. I have a car. I also have a car that I can call a temporary car, that I can know at some point I'm not even going to have this car anymore. I'm going to have a nicer car. And I have another car. I not only have one car that I was feeling embarrassed about, I have another car that I'm actually not embarrassed about. I just wasn't driving it that day. And what was happening as I was writing these things down is the realization that our mind is so tricky, because what it wants to do is focus on the person over there who has more than us, or better than us, or nicer and flashier than us, and then make us feel like we're worse than, less than. Right. Rather than giving us the whole picture of, I'm driving up to school, waving to a classmate of Eloise whose mother just walked him to school, probably like a mile, and she does it every single day, and she does it with the best attitude ever, and she's the sweetest woman. And I am sitting in my car feeling embarrassed about what Tesla mom thinks of me. And just realizing like, no, I absolutely need to love my life, because no matter what circumstance I'm inside of, I'm going to do that tricky thing. I'm going to compare myself, and I'm going to measure people according to standards that aren't real or true. I know for a fact that the woman who doesn't have a car, who I actually physically saw the day that I was comparing myself to the other, she's so lovely. And I would never want to make her feel like less of a person for not having a car. And yet that's exactly the standard. Her feel
like you don't think of her as less of a person. Like
exactly. But the standard of measurement I was using, it's the same standard of measurement we use when we go, oh, I'm so fat, in front of a friend who's curvier than us. And she goes, whoa. And even if she doesn't say it inside, she's like, like, wait. If you think that's that, what do you think of me? And it's this underlying standard that isn't real or true, but it feels so sticky and mean and like heavy, right? And so what I love my life as this like mantra that I've been doing, what it does for me is it removes that yucky standard that puts people in a place according to such superficial things. Yeah.
Which is it's not about where you are on the rung being like, oh no, I'm higher up on the ladder than other people, so I shouldn't be complaining. Like, what am I trying to say here? It's that we are the human experience is to remove the ladder entirely. There's no hierarchy. There's no up or down. There's the life that you're in currently. Yeah. It's not like, well, I'm above others, so I shouldn't feel bad. Or I'm below others, so I shouldn't feel. There's looking down or looking up is the problem. That's a problematic orientation. We want to be pulling ourselves free, shaking everybody loose of that. I'm not going to put myself above or below anybody. And I don't hold anybody else above or below me. And it's easier it's an easier step to do that with others, to let everyone else stand on a level playing field and be like, no, look at the humanness of each person. But it's a lot harder to do on the inside, where like the mechanism is, I'm going to identify with the part of me that is experiencing life, not the part of me that can be viewed or can be measured. I'm more interested in the experience of having a body, being inside of a body looking out, than with what the reflection is of that body.
And what the judgment is towards the reflection.
Your experience of living in your body and being connected to me, then I am going to be interested in what your eyes see when they look at my outside. We want to be removing that whole structure entirely.
And I think what I was getting at is like, it was easier for me to recognize what was happening when I think of the person who automatically, if I'm using that scale, automatically falls at a lower valuation point. Then for me, that's really alarming, where I'm like, what the heck? I would never want to do that. But that's what I'm doing by following that scale. And I love that you brought that up, the experience of it. So the actual experience of me inside my little car that I was feeling embarrassed about was so fun. I was with Eloise and we were having such a good time. And I also was writing about that, like how funny that when we start to focus on other people's potential judgment, like Tesla mom probably didn't even notice me. Tesla moms, plural, there's a lot of them. They honestly probably didn't. They were probably just like, we got to get here, get our kids inside. I was having a really wonderful morning with my daughter. What if that was enough and I could just love my life as that? And what if my friend who walked her son to school was also having a really wonderful walk to school that she loves? And what if person in the Tesla over here was having a really great morning with their child? And we were all getting there being like, we love our life. Oh, thank goodness, you know, and that's enough for us, instead of all these other things that attach and make it feel so complicated, when really inside of our experience, what can we do to love our life more? Possibly we already have enough going for us that we can really, really love it. And if we don't, what can we shift so that we can really feel that sense of joy or contentment with the life that we do have, even while pursuing worthwhile goals or, you know, ambitions that we have, or the things that we aspire to can still exist, but we're doing it from a place of, I love where I'm at, which is kind of like that body image episode. You can want to change your body while still experiencing a love and appreciation for the body that you have. It doesn't need to be fueled. Your desire to change your body does not need to be fueled by a hatred for your current body or a feeling that I will love my body when it looks like that. It doesn't have to be the way.
You did an amazing job last season in both of these ways of like bringing to us kind of a new baseline of like, with that body image episode.
That was a good one.
These are the two that I am like personally continuing to, the reason to be bringing them up again is because I continue to be really impacted by those conversations.
Yeah, me too.
And you really getting stern with us about your deeply held belief that women's bodies are beautiful. Done, full stop. We can go other places from there. But the baseline here is that women's bodies are amazing. Women's bodies are so beautiful. Therefore, if I have a woman's body, then I am at least what Jessica considers automatically beautiful, right? And so if I can be like, I love this body. I love my life. I love the body I live in. Food tastes so good in this body. Like I get to go to restaurants and these eyes take in beautiful decor and I eat delicious food. Like this is the body that gets snuggled. The pressure of somebody else's body. This is the body that I use for having sex. Like if I didn't have this body, it would mean that I am a ghost and there's no tasty food and there's no sex and there's no connecting and there's no feet in the grass, right?
There's no laughing?
No.
Laughing
I can make
so good.
noise or express myself. Like me talking to you, my thoughts coming out is a physical act that my body does from the inside. Like I love that my body gets to make this sound, that like you and I get to connect because when I was tiny, I learned how to like utilize the muscles of my body to like make noise. It's so beautiful what my body can do. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I want it to last for like a really long time. I want to live a long time. And when I'm an old lady, I want to not be like hunched and immobilized and in pain.
Totally.
I want to be open and spry and available.
Healthy.
I want to be healthy and well. I have goals for this body. I would like it to be stronger. There are shapes of bodies that delight my eyes in a particular way, and I want one.
Yeah.
I want to have that. Well, that would be fun. Let's feel what that feels like. But I could do that from the understanding that like I own a woman's body. So whatever shape it is in,
it's already
forever.
Good. Yeah.
It's already really beautiful because women are amazing. Baseline. Like you did an amazing job for us last season in several ways of just being like, no, let's set a new baseline for ourselves. Like baseline, I love this life.
Build our house on that.
Yes. If I didn't have this life, it would mean that I'm not here. I don't get to have someone else's life that's not on the table. Someone else's body is not on the table. Yeah. So if I want to be alive, it means this one. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I get to be here. Yeah. So let's like lay this as the floor. Yeah. And do have goals. Do have desires if you want. Have whatever you want. Yeah. Have whatever.
Totally.
But like the motivation to change no longer coming out of because I hate this. My life sucks. Yeah. So something's got to give. I hate this body. So I have to put it through or I'll just have to hide it. I just have to live in something I don't like. Like, no. I love this.
Yes, exactly. And because things grow in an environment of nurturing and love versus a hostile environment where it's hated, it's not going to grow properly. Yeah. And something to note that I'm thinking about as you're talking is we did those episodes while I still had cancer in my body. And that's also something very real is that like, as you are wrestling with this idea of loving your life or loving your body, there are real like enemies to that come in and you're having to wrestle. And I think, I mean, just to say this, it's a little bit ironic that I'm talking about loving my life when in recent weeks I have like cried every day. I am really struggling in ways having to do with coming back from being sick, having to navigate work again, struggling to pay our bills, struggling to just kind of feel like I'm above water and not underneath it. Yeah. And it's kind of an interesting thing because like to have cancer, to have surgery and to be recovering, I was so removed from it, but I wasn't dead. So it's like, thank God I'm alive. But then to be healthy, I mean, I have another UTI, which is just nonstop these days. To be mostly healthy and then to be back into the throes of like, okay, provide for your 3 kids. Okay, now they're home for the summer and you've got the car stuff you got to figure out. And there's just the real challenges of life. And then to decide, I love my life. And it's no longer with this fear of cancer, because thank God I don't have cancer, but it is with a sense of like, okay, how can I learn from that really scary experience that there is an end to this life? There is a boundary there. At some point you go and you're at the end. And the sweetness of that boundary is that it makes us really appreciate where we are. Very hard to appreciate where you are when inside of it's a lot of struggle. And it's similar to what you felt upon losing your job and being like, okay, what the heck? How do I make sense of the doom and gloom while also focusing on everything good that's ever happened and knowing that goodness is coming? Yep. And it's a real tension. And I guess I just want to bring that up because what I could imagine is some of you are listening being like, oh, Layne, oh, Jess, I really want to love my life. And I have so many reasons on paper why I should, but I'm really, really struggling. Yeah. And this is powerful because it's for you. Yes. It's for us. It is so wonderful when the banner over our life on a good day is I love my life. That's my favorite. We should all have that. That's great. On the happiest day to love our life. That's great. But I love my life is really an offer of strength and focus on the days where you feel like you're drowning to have something like, no. What is true for me is I love my life and my life will continue to prove itself lovable. Yes. Good things will continue to come for me. And there's actually like this biblical principle that I know from somewhere in the Old Testament where basically like miracles happen and God's like, okay, cool. Stack a bunch of these rocks on top of each other. every time you guys look at this thing that you just made, I want you to talk about the miracles that just happened, because your tendency is gonna be to look ahead to the next crisis and forget the last miracle that happened in your life. Talk about it. Tell your kids about it. Tell your grandkids about it. Talk about the miracles that you've seen, because your insides are gonna forget them. And that is still true for us. Whatever we need to do to build things into our life that remind us of the things that have gone well, to remind us that our life is good, our body is good. Why is our body good? Because of all the things Layne just reminded us about a body. All of the experiences this body has given us. It reminds us this is a good body. As much as I might look in the mirror and be programmed to think something else about it, no, the truth is what she said. What do we need to do in our life? What's a physical act? Do we need to write these words about our body on a mirror and see them every time we go to the bathroom? Then let's do it. Do you need to write in a journal all the times that you were provided for? I did this just this week. Do you need to write down all the times that you were blown away by how your skills and your gifts and your passions all got used at the same time to help somebody else, and it lit you up inside? Write about it, talk about it, recall it with somebody else who was there. Call a sibling or a friend or your spouse, partner, whoever, and be like, hey, could we just remember all the things that went really well? Because I am freaking out inside and I want to love my life. And that's a super powerful act. And it kind of like invites that energy of expectation back in of, oh yeah, really good things are coming for me. I just might be in a winter. Like look at a tree in winter, not much on it. Might even look a little dead. It's not dead. It's just getting ready for the next season where things bloom again. I was reading this book, Necessary Endings. It was talking about how life begets too much life. A plant begets too many branches to sustain. So the snipping off of some of them is important for a lush, healthy plant. I like that, because what I start to feel is that an ending, I started this thing and it didn't work out, is a failure. An ending is a loss and a failure and a sad thing and a mark that, you know, she just isn't somebody who finishes, or she just isn't somebody who she's too visionary for her own good. That's, you hear people talked about like that.
That she tried.
Yeah. How sweet. Oh, she's got another big idea. But to realize that, no, the nature of life is that you're going to have too many people to call back, too many opportunities to say yes to. You're going to begin something and realize like, okay, that was really special, but actually my energy needs to be here for now. So that's going to need to end. Or you begin something with full, like this relationship, I intended for it to last forever, and now it's going to end. It might be a necessary ending. And as painful as the ending is, it leads to life in another place, and it is still good. And so you joking about like you lost your job, but then your whole life elevated. It's like something needed to be cut so that energy could come back to where it needed to be and grow somewhere else. And so then the question just becomes like, are there some endings that need to take place? And that's just between you and your people and your journey. But
a lot of those endings get pressed upon you. I'm going to do the thing that you're describing now. And I'm going to tell some story. I'm going to stack some metaphorical rocks for you guys now. Because I am in a little bit of a bright moment, so it's easy to see right now. And, and even more sometimes than like that thing has to go to make way for other things. Like pruning creates more growth. You prune a plant so that it will do even more than before. Like the new thing and the next thing and the more thing comes through the cutting away. It's not even like you're being turned away from that other thing. It's like, no, the thing that you're headed toward only comes through this part.
Through cutting back.
Yes. And that's something that I'm being asked to relax into in a big way right now. And I have so many times in my life, but I want to tell some stories about like things gone good.
I love it.
Because there are some ones that are kind of crazy. And I'm going to tell some miracle stories too. And I want to frame that as like whatever the cosmology is.
Totally.
I don't know. I'm not a Christian anymore. I used to be, and I used to think it was that. And now I don't know what it is. And a lot of this is also kind of manifesty, and I feel medium about that too. But the thing that I think is amazing about existence is that bunch of things are specific and words matter and there are edges to stuff, but also whatever mechanisms are real seem to be holding true in my life, even when I go from being over here to being over here. And I'm just finding that like a really playful mystery.
And it's so encouraging because it's like, okay, this piece that I thought was true. Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice.
It's nice. I'm going to put a little weight on that then because that seems to be there. When I was in my early 20s, I had a really hard time figuring out how to be a grown-up. I couldn't show up to work enough to get enough money. I couldn't show up to school enough to deal with school. I found it really challenging. And there was this moment where I had like moved out on my big adventure and kind of like did okay there, kind of crashed and burned, kind of did okay, was home again like 4 months later.
Okay.
And I had absolutely no money and like some payments to make and was like, no, really, there's like no dollars. And my dad came home one day and was like, I was at the bank today and I have something for you. It's the weirdest thing. No. He was like, I was in my office today and the weirdest thing happened. I have something for you. This woman came in. She brought me this envelope and it has $220 in it. And she said that she knew she needed to come see me today because God told her. My father is a pastor. This is from the Christian Times of Yore. And Christian Times of Yore. And what happened was 10 years ago, when you were 10, you and I went into the bank together. Right before you and I walked through that door, this woman heard from the Holy Spirit that she should give $200 to the next person who walked through the door. So you and I walked up, and as I always do, I held the door open for you, my little daughter, and you walked through the door. And she was like, I'm not giving $200 to that child. Can't do it. That would be crazy. So today she came to see me and was like, I brought you that $200 plus an extra $20 as $2 of interest for every year. Wow. Because I knew I was supposed to give money to your daughter. So this is for your daughter. And I took that money and paid off the thing that I had no money to pay for. That my parents are like, no, you live at home for free and eat food. We're not giving you money. No money was coming. I didn't know how to I was doing a bad job at being a grown-up.
Wow.
And in desperate need of money. Yeah. And 10 years before that, whatever exists, God or my life or myself or consciousness or whatever had provided for me, planted a seed for just this one thing that I needed when I was a little child for later. When I was failing as a grown-up. That's
beautiful. I was failing as a grown-up. Wow, you were a little grown-up. You were young.
And I didn't know. I couldn't do it. Yeah. And something totally outside of me.
That's a beautiful
and yet
story.
Totally trustworthy.
Yeah.
Knew I was going to need that money.
That's so cool.
And played this lovely game with this other woman.
Yeah.
Right? This beautiful faith game with her.
That's
where
so
my dad got to call her and be like, that's so funny.
That's wild. Yeah.
This is my 10-year-old didn't need $200, but my 20-year-old really needs $220. And you did it
so cool.
in exactly the right time. That woman had this weird thing when she saw me in life at church or wherever of like, I think I was supposed to give that kid money and I didn't.
No way.
And yet she wasn't supposed to until the moment when she did. Like, life has some magic in it. Some real magic in it.
Yeah.
And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Another time later in my 20s when I also didn't have enough money to pay my rent.
Yeah.
I walked past somebody who was asking for money and I had literally all the money to my name. I pulled all the money out of my bank account. It was $140, which is not enough to pay rent.
Yeah.
I was holding it. I didn't know why. I was just like, I feel like I have to take all the money out. I don't have enough, so I might as well take it all out.
Wow.
And I was walking around with it. Okay. And somebody asked me for money. And so I gave it to them. And then I went home. And the next day, I got a check in the mail from somebody who had been thinking about me. That was the amount that covered my rent.
Oh my gosh.
I gave away money following intuition inside. Whatever is inside that knows was like, it's not enough anyway. I don't want you to have this feeling of like, I got to hold this 140 because this money can't provide for you. Let's stitch it. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah. It's not working
let's
anyway.
Just make it go. Maybe this is somebody else's. This money isn't working. Let's get it out of here. And then the right money, like literally a check in the mail.
That
like
is
you
so
could
amazing.
flip that piece of paper.
Yeah.
For what I needed. And I moved on. I did a bad job of being a grown up for a long time.
It's such a hard thing to be a grown up.
It was so hard to be a grown up. And stuff just like kept taking care of me. I fell in love with somebody whom I adored for many years, who was not going to love me back. From 21 years old.
Okay.
From 20 years old until I was well into 23.
Okay.
Probably around the time I turned 24, I was like, you need to just tell me that you don't love me. And he was like, I can't. And I was like, you're awful. Like, you're being awful about this. And the line was, you want me to say no forever to something that could change in a heartbeat, Layne.
Stop.
Awful. I'm going to write it into a movie as punishment. Someday I'm going to make a movie.
A novel or something.
Somebody's going to say that out loud. And that man, whom I love at a distance, is going to watch that movie and be like, that's so mean that she wrote that down. He's going to be like, she's so mean to me.
That's so mean I said that.
Also, a 22-year-old who was like, you're amazing, and not prepared to be like, but I don't love you.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. I worked inside of that person's home, like for their family for like a really long time. Okay. Just bleeding on the floor.
Oh yeah. Bonding with everyone.
Every day.
You're like, your mom loves me.
Yeah. Yes, she does. Casually, just like hanging out with this person in between I was just there all the time, just suffering. Nobody could move forward. He couldn't live his life in front of me,
of course,
and move forward because how mean to his friend, horrible. His dear friend, who he wants very close, but doesn't want to have. Just wants her to be really close. I couldn't do anything because I was just like literally looking at this person all the time. And a different friend was like, listen, this is some bullshit. You're going to stop working there.
Nice.
Because what are you doing? Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're going to come work with me at my preschool. Oh. Because so it begins. We're great with kids and we need somebody to try out a toddler program. We want to try a toddler component at the school. So you're going to come to the school. I talked to my boss. You're going to come to the school. You're going to do this thing. You're not going to see this person for like laid down the law for me around this.
What a good friend.
What a very good friend. Big shout out Nicole Yankee forever.
Wow.
Forever.
Yeah.
2 times in my early 20s, she was like, you are fucking your shit up and no thank you. We were Christian. She didn't say that.
But she would have.
She made me move into at a different time. She made me move into her house for 3 weeks.
Whoa.
Eat food, pay attention, look for a job, like do a thing. She also was 22 years old. She just like had the ability to be like, nope, you don't get to be wasteful with your whole life. Speaking of things,
we have her to thank. So she's the sponsor for today's.
This episode is sponsored by Nicole. My life is sponsored by my friendship with Nicole Yankee.
Awesome.
And that's how I started teaching preschool. And then I got in there and was like, what is this? Who are these people? That's why I found a new love today.
Whoa.
Because toddlers
are your rebound relationship.
Yeah. Because I was doing a bad job at my life and life rewarded. Like, how loving is my life that it doesn't just it sees me at my worst. And that's what I really want to be emphasizing here.
Yes.
Is the like this negative feeling into, oh my God, life. Like, whoa, my life.
Yeah.
I moved to LA. And the curriculum business that I was trying to get going that made like $11 ever.
Okay.
Like maybe like $17 ever.
Okay.
Was clearly not working. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
I had a phone call with someone who was in curriculum publishing who like really laid out for me, like, this is what it's going to have to look like. And I was like, I can't do that. I didn't know it was going to be that.
Wow.
Of course it hasn't been working if that's what it is.
Sure.
I've been not doing that.
I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah.
And I had a friend over for dinner who was in a band with my brothers who was like, oh, that's cool that you do something about kids. You should meet my friend, Jessica.
Yeah.
And I had moments before that been like, you know what I need? I need a mom. I need someone who does have kids to lend me a little bit of credibility for a little while. And like help make a space for me so that this valuable thing that I have has somewhere to go. Because I'm not finding a way to get it somewhere to go. And then you appeared.
With all these moms. It wasn't just me. It was like, here's a whole
all of you
surplus of women. Yeah.
And that's
so
like
cool.
When my life, I was like weeping down the streets of Highland Park, taking walks, being like, it's over. My thing is over. And it was. I was not wrong. Like, that is not going to exist.
Done as you knew it.
That thing that I worked on is not ever going to be a thing. And I worked really hard on that, and it was cool.
Wow.
So that's sad. But that loss Like that's a good example of like, no, straight through that one was into the thing I actually wanted. Because what I wanted was to take what I have and get it to you guys. I didn't need it to be curriculum. That's what I thought. My limited idea of what it should be, what it could look like was actually like way smaller and less good. It was not as useful as the thing that came after. Like I got shot through this loss, like into the right thing forward. You know?
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Yep. Love it. Yeah.
We could keep going.
I know.
But like those are just some early ones.
I would love to invite you guys. Is there a way they could like be sharing their stories too? I feel like everybody has stories. Where could we put them? Guys, we need to share our stories. I guess, okay, here's the thing. Be a member of Very Good Mothers Club. You got to join. You need mom friends. We all know it.
Yeah.
The people in there are amazing. If you're listening and you're a member of VGMC, let's start a thread. And will you just tell good stories? I want to hear when were you provided for? When did something go right? When did something change for the positive that felt at first like a negative?
Yeah.
Let's just tell each other the stories and get hyped up because it fills me to hear that. And I have my own stories too. And I think it would just be so encouraging to rally together and lift each other up.
Yeah.
So
in fact, if you are listening to this on the morning that this comes out, like if it's today that this got released, today at 12, we will be on the internet talking about this together.
Yeah.
And
we can lift each other
for
up
free.
Yeah,
for
there's
today.
a trial.
Just like jump onto this call.
Do it.
And let's talk about it today.
It's so nice. It's so fun. Also, today's Eloise's birthday. Not today, but like the day that you're listening to this.
Happy birthday,
Eloise's turning 9. So that's so fun. Yeah, join. Let's talk about it. I heard somebody's not joining because you're afraid that we are not going to be as good in real life. Oh, no.
No, we're fine.
I thought our timer went out.
No, I'm laughing.
They're afraid we're not going to be as good in real life. And they've lifted up us high in a very sweet way. And they don't want to join and find out that we're down here. But I want you to join and I want you to find out we're down here and that down here is where you want to be because everybody's here and they're all awesome. And so if that's you and you're like, I don't know, just go. Just come. Let's join. Let's hang out.
Come along.
It's so special.
At minimum, you will have done something brave and real.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Like I'm a person who lives in deep fantasy all the time.
Yeah.
And for a lot of my life, instead of loving my actual life, I've been like, that's okay. I'll just live somewhere else with other people in other ways.
Fantasy.
A different version of me will play out a different life.
I relate.
At any time. I can just feel better.
Yeah.
By being somewhere else. Somewhere else, someone else in some other body, in some other universe.
Yeah.
And instead of that, instead of living in a fantasy world where Layne and Jess are perfect people who will always say the right thing to you, you could come do something in your real life. That's like actually connected, potentially really nourishing.
Yes.
And at minimum,
and you'll meet other really great people. And they're so great. We might not say the right thing, but somebody else in the group will. Just give it time.
I
recently, this is, okay, I'm taking us back a little bit because this is sort of on the topic of like, I love my life and kind of I love my body. I got this comment on the Instagram reel that I did in the fall when I got fillers and Botox and I was talking about them and someone just recently, like in the last week, commented and was like, this is nice, but radical acceptance of your face is better. And it was like, it was not a mean comment. It was just basically like, if you would just radically accept yourself for who you are, rather than trying to improve it, that would feel better. And I was thinking a lot about that. I understand the sentiment, I think. But what I was pondering is that in my house, my kitchen's falling apart. Some of the drawers, like when you pull them out, the bottoms have fallen out. So they're no longer drawers. They're just empty little cubbies waiting to be repaired. And it's happening now all over. So what needs to happen is a repair. And it's ugly. It's less even about the practical and it's really like, it's an eyesore in our house. And what I wonder is if this was happening to this commenter, would they go the route of radical acceptance? And would radical acceptance mean that you just leave it as is? Or would it mean that you're allowed to improve it? And would it mean that you're allowed to beautify it? Or is it only okay to improve something on a practical level? You can improve your face if something is broken. Right. You cannot alter your face if it's purely an aesthetic preference. Radical acceptance would be better. Yeah. What I am wondering is it possible that you could do both? Could you radically accept your situation? Could you radically love your body as it is while wanting to change it. I think yes. I think yes, even lines up with everything you've said already. Who knows? I could 5 years from now be like, yeah, I never want to touch myself with anything superficial again. And I'm just going to let my hair be the color it is and my skin do the thing that it does. I could do that. That could be fine. Right now, I color my hair and I get these different things done to my face at a time when I can. And I still think I'm able to practice acceptance of my body as it is. And I think that if we take that to a larger scale of just like your life and walking through challenging things, there is definitely a piece that requires you to accept it.
Yes.
Okay, I am here.
Yes.
I am struggling to pay my bills. Okay, that's where I am. Okay. And I want to change my life around and improve it and better it and be in a position where I don't feel that feeling. I'm doing both of them at the same time. And if it looks like I'm only loving my life and I'm skipping the acceptance part, like that just might be what it looks like to the person who's not inside of my own experience of my body and life.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
It does. And it brings us somewhere really important, which we worried about last time also.
Okay.
Which is this idea of like, we don't want to be out here saying fluffy things.
Right.
You and I are both people who are worried about being like, just call it good. Just like, grateful.
Your body's great.
Your body's what do you mean? All bodies are beautiful. All bodies are beautiful.
Right.
And great. Okay, cool. We got it. We're there.
Yes.
Gotcha. So let's get into what's like feeling real, like the viscera of life, because this is not about just pretending. I don't want you to pretend that you love your life. I don't want you to ever be tucking away any of the corners that you don't like and trying to hide them from your peripheral vision, right? I love my life is about being able to look at the whole thing, turning all the lights on in your home and being like, this is where I live. I love that I'm sheltered from the elements. I see that there's dirt in that corner. Part of me loving my life is saying like, I don't want to live in a home that has dirt in that corner. I'm going to go clean that up. Not, I'm going to keep that light off over there to hide the part that I don't like and just pretend like, look, I accept it. I made one wall that's really pretty and everybody only look over here. I only look over here and I just close this eye so I can't see the rest of my home and I just only look out of this eye. Like that's not a real thing. That's hiding from your life. And I feel that for people on the internet to be telling you that their value for you is that actually you just pretend like you're really happy with the way that your face is progressing, no matter what it looks like. And if you don't like it, could you just shut up about it? Like that's not radical acceptance at all.
Right.
That's a different person, and God bless them, trying to control your behavior.
Right.
She doesn't. This is radical acceptance, looks at the whole thing, feels the feeling of urgency come up, puts that feeling back down, says, I see you, I know about you, I understand panic about mortality, I understand the pressures of youthfulness. I'm aware of the feelings that are here. Okay, I can see the whole thing. And I'm here. I'm not leaving. I'm not fleeing. I'm not hiding. I'm not turning off lights. I can see my life. I'm present. This is my body. It does look like this. This is where fat collects. What is my value around fat? Do I have a value around fat? Is fat bad? Is fat good? Is it okay?
Good.
I have fat. I not am fat. I am fat. Like what? Like, you know, investigates. What is my relationship to these things that are real? Like, okay, do I want to, where do I have space and time to make moves in my life? Where do I not? Okay, I don't have space or time to be thinking about this. I don't have internal motivation to make a change over here about this thing. I don't want to. I'm scared. Whatever. I accept that that piece exists with all the other piece. I'm going to put my energy here. Now I know about that thing. Thank you, brain. I remember that that part's there that I'm not pleased with. I'm going to act lovingly toward it. And keep moving forward in my life. Like acceptance lets the whole thing exist. It doesn't immobilize you. It's fake contentment, fake acceptance to say, I must remain exactly where I am because I accept myself. It's a pretense that you don't have desires.
Totally.
And we want to be living lives that are actually like driven and guided by our true desires. We don't want to be living lives that are going, oh no, oh no, oh no, I don't have the things I want. I don't have. That's actually not desire. That's like a real lack consciousness. But I want to be able to say, this is what it is. There's a ton of stuff I love about this apartment. I think I've made it really beautiful. It's 600 square feet and we're running 2 businesses out of here. And one of them is music. I would love to live in a bigger apartment, and I'm going to try to live in a bigger apartment like sooner than later. In the meantime, today, I'm going to really, really enjoy the decor that I've set up in here, my system for keeping it cool in here. I'm going to notice how cool my body feels because I have this air conditioning unit that's doing an okay job. I have to be in here today, right? So I might as well like sink into what it is, behave lovingly toward it, and experience the feeling of love. I'm loving it. This is where I live. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm happy. I think that's closer to radical acceptance.
It's so good.
Than I will do nothing because what I need better be enough, for what I have right now better just be enough.
Right.
I think that's pretend.
Yeah, that's so good.
Do you feel complete?
I'm thinking about my little girls. Wilson, I think about him too, but like Eloise, she's at an age where she's affected by other people's thoughts. And I sometimes have this instinct of like, who told you? Who told you that outfit's not cute? Because you loved that outfit when you put it on this morning. Right. And now that you're coming home from school, who told you it was anything other than the thing that you really enjoyed?
Delighted in.
Yeah. And I think that's even for ourselves, something that we go through as women is when I'm looking at my face, whether or not I desire any sort of Botox or fillers or something, what I do have to ask myself sometimes is, Jessica, who told you that you're aging badly? Or like, who told you you need this thing? And if I can sort out the thoughts and get to a point of like, okay, cool. I don't want to believe the bigger kind of overlying message towards women that aging is bad or that any glimpse of aging is a big problem. I don't want to believe that. Okay, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to figure that, okay, what does Jessica want for Jessica's face that's not tied to everybody else's thing? Okay, I think I might want Botox and fillers. I think that might help me feel really good when I'm making content and my face is being critiqued by viewers out there in the world. I think I might want that. Okay, I think I might do that. Yeah. And then it's not coming from a place of somebody's like big messaging towards me. It's me sifting through it. Like, do I want that? Right. Do I like it? I really like when I look at a picture of myself and I still see the same youthful thing I saw 10 years ago. I feel like, wow, I am so lucky to live in a time where there's something that exists that can preserve that in my cheeks. Yeah. Oh, cool. That's nice. Yeah. So we're not pretending it's not complicated. It's super duper complicated to be a woman trying to sort out how to love your life, how to love your face, how to love your body, how to raise a daughter to love her own. And just so we're clear with Eloise, I've told her everything I've done. And I even tell her like, yeah, sometimes I'm like kind of confused trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I know I'm beautiful. I know you're beautiful. And it's confusing. She's, yeah, true. Like she's a smart girl. She sees it too. And then at the end of the day, we're loving our bodies, loving ourselves, loving our lives and trying to sort it out together. And it's a lot like this. Just trying to choose what's right and make sense of everything that feels kind of wrong.
Yeah. And you're going to find that in all the spaces of your life.
Yeah.
If it feels super happy to you to watch your child eat the same sugar cereals that you ate in the morning and you guys freaking love that together, yay. Enjoy your life, right? Yeah. If it feels loving toward your life to be really focused on like nutrient dense meals that are going to support your person, great. Yay. Wonderful. Love your life. Love your life in whatever way your life needs to be loved. Be present in it. Yeah. Let it be complicated and address those complications from a space of like open-heartedness. Like, oh yeah, we ran into a complicated space again. Cool. Let's play here and see what's good, right? Like when I really just decrease that feeling of like, oh no, I've bumped into something I don't know what to do about, or a thing I don't like is here. Quick, get all the bad out so that I can love my life. Like, it's just like, soup, man.
So good.
It's
and
soup.
it means that we have to take a little bit less judgmental approach towards other people
Yes.
loving their lives. Because we
Yes.
look at somebody loving their life and maybe instinctually you're like, what? They're doing it like this?
Right.
But
Yeah,
what
loving
if
your
that's
life
allowed?
is not about getting it right.
Yeah.
It's not about optimizing. It's not about like purity or perfection or the image of it or proving anything to anybody. It's just about being here in the way that's the most real that you can and really experiencing the life that you're in.
This will be a good one for me to listen back to.
Yes.
I'm going to need it.
All right, cut us off.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need to tell them?
No, we already told you to join Very Good Mothers Club. Hope to see you today.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh my gosh, missed you guys. Yes, there is something
us.
else I need to say. Bonus episodes this season. So we've done something different with bonus episodes every single season.
Yep.
I'm just really trying to figure out like what best serves you guys and works in our lives and like what is this for? This season, what I'm going to do is not be recording a bunch of them ahead of time so that they like come out every single Friday. I'm going to wait and really, really invite you guys to be sending us emails after these episodes. I want you to hear this and I want to hear from you. Our email is verygoodenoughpod@gmail.com, pod@gmail.com. And I would love to hear from you guys. Contributions. Contribute your contributions. We want to hear what you think about this. And then as those come in, I would love to be recording like a little bonus response to that and just kind of like sharing what some of your thoughts were. We'd love your feedback. If you feel contrary to these thoughts and opinions, I would love to get that out there too. I would like for this season to just be like a little bit more conversational and kind of community minded on those Fridays.
Love it.
So there may or may not be a bonus every single Friday, but
just depends on what comes in. It'll be a response to whatever comes in. So if nothing goes out from us, it's because we didn't get anything we needed to respond to, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
But wanna hear from you guys about it. Want to be sharing more of your thoughts here in this space.
Great. Okay,
Yay.
guys, it's so good to be back with you. We hope you have a good week, and we'll see you later today and next week.
Bye.
Very Good Enough is a production of Very Good Mothers Club. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute to rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube, and send this episode to a friend.